everyone, and welcome to another episode of GodSaw's Turnbuckle, the wrestling video podcast here on YouTube. As usual, we are currently working on other facets. We'll get to that at some other point in time. Maybe I'll just announce that at some point. But this episode of GodSaw's Turnbuckle is going to focus around GFW Impact Wrestling on July 13th, 2017. And, you know, with the aspect of this show, it came off pretty good, but it also came off like a little bit weird in certain areas, and they're kind of going with certain other aspects to the show. Like, they were giving you some different stuff in the show, and some of it was good, some of it was like, what's going on here, in that sense of everything. So we'll go right from the beginning. You have, before they go to the in-ring stuff, they have Joseph Park and Grado. They arrive in the arena, and basically they're saying that Grado's papers are not in order, everything in that sense. So they're trying to get him to stay in the country. Yes, they're going with a deportation angle with Grado at this point. And so Joseph Park comes up with a plan of, we need to get him married. So he needs to start finding dates or something like that. So they start talking about this. And some of the stuff you got was pretty interesting, especially with their talk that they were having there with Joseph Park and Grado. And then you got a segment a little bit later in the show where Grado is trying to get a date with one of the knockouts or any of the knockouts and everything in that sense. And he fails at every facet of it. I forget who everybody he went up to. The final one was Ali, and then Braxton Sutter comes in of course right towards the end. Probably also to help that build a little bit of tension. I guess they're starting to build tension between Ali and Braxton Sutter at this point in time. But it all ended a little bit later in the show after a match with Laurel Van Ness and Ava Story, which in the sense of the match itself, I thought it was a pretty decent match between them. Laurel Van Ness kind of still playing off the crazy and everything in that sense. But the match itself was pretty decent. Laurel Van Ness going over. Grado comes out afterwards and he tries to basically hit on Laurel Van Ness. She's kind of liking it, but Congo Kong comes out and Grado runs. So it's playing off the aspect that Congo Kong is going to get in the way of whatever Grado's trying to do every single time if he tries to go towards Laurel Van Ness in any way, shape, or form. So that's how they started the show at that beginning, and then I kind of went through everything else that happened afterwards. So I kind of skipped portions of the show. So we'll go to the first segment that they went out there with, which was LAX coming out, and you know they were talking about Alberto El Patron being a part of LAX, everything in that sense that he's going to join them, everything in that sense. They bring out El Patron, and he basically he goes to Conan, he's like, what are you doing? What are you literally doing? And they have this back and forth, and like El Patron says no like 3 different times that he's not going to join LAX. Conan continually tries to convince him, but he decides to say no every single time. And he does play off of everything that happened with El Patron or Alberto Del Rio and his WWE time and everything in that sense. Conan making mention of people he had problems with in that company as well. But with the aspect of El Patron not joining, LAX ends out attacking him, which actually prompts Lashley to come out and clear the ring, and it sets up for a match later in the night with LAX. Santana and Ortiz going up against Lashley and Alberto El Patron. I'll talk about that one a little bit later on. Actually, probably going to be the last thing I talk about. So, up next, though, was the second match that they had, the second first round match that they had in the Super X Cup. It was ACH going up against Andrew Everett. All I can really say about this match is that it was a good match between both of them. Both of them got to show off their athleticism, everything that they could do inside of the ring. They had ACH go over, so that means they're going to have him kind of continue on. So that push that they were trying to give Andrew Everett a little while ago, going after the X Division title and everything, has kind of gone to the away side for the time being, if they're even really going to go that route with him at all in any way, shape, or form. So we'll see how that ends out playing off. But they have ACH go over, and Yeah, it was like I said, it was a good match between both of them. It was fun, just good. They were, showing their athleticism, everything in that sense. I thought it came off well. Up next was Gail Kim. She came out and basically said she had an announcement and that she was going to retire at the end of 2017. In simple terms, it's like she says she's not done with in-ring. She wants to go into the end of 2017 and then kind of retire, and say she's going to retire on top everything in that sense. So we're going to probably be seeing some matches with Gail Kim coming up here very soon in that sense, and probably going to lead to her potentially winning the Knockouts title either in her retirement match or before her retirement match. We'll see how everything ends up playing out on that one. She's had, well, if you've watched Impact Wrestling or TNA Impact or any of all the stuff down there, you kind of know where her career is. You know her 2 times in the WWE, which were not necessarily that good. They did promote her as being like, she was one of those few female talents that, when she came in, she got vignettes and everything in that sense, but it never really led to anything substantial for her career inside of that company. But everything but they've kind of let her be more in Impact, and she had been the leader of the Knockouts division and everything in that sense. So it's, and believe it or not, it's been quite a while too. So she's had a long career inside of Impact and TNA and I guess GFW now as well to go along with everything. So of course it's always sad to see somebody go, but she's kind of calling her own shot, so that's always a good thing too in that sense. So right after this, Chris Adonis comes out, and this is the part of the show that I'm like, I really don't care. I mean, I like Eli Drake, and I kind of like what Chris Adonis has been doing, but he's doing this trash-talking thing with the guys. I guess there's a TV show on Pop TV called Swolmate or something in that sense. And they basically just did a pose down and a bunch of trash talk. Eli Drake came out. I didn't really care. I'll just leave it at that. I did not really care about this, but it seems like it's going to lead into something. I don't know if they get, if they'll actually have a match, or they'll get a couple of guys to be substitutes for the Swolmate guys. I don't know where they're going to go with this. I did not really care about this segment in any way, shape, or form. So up next, after that, was actually, I think it's the Minis division. It was Demos versus Octagon Saito. I believe that's how to pronounce it. This was a decent match. I'm not one that has watched a lot of from Mexico. They have in Mexico, they typically have a Minis division inside of their promotions and everything in that sense. From what I've heard, they have good matches, everything in that sense. Sometimes it's comical, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's a little bit more serious. This one was more on the serious side. They were kind of just showing off everything that they can do. And it's just going where you're seeing with GFW right now is that they're willing to go to different places in the terms of showing you different things. And it's like, will this work? Will this work? And this match itself, I thought was pretty decent. I don't know how often they're going to be doing things like that, but this match itself was pretty decent. So we'll see where they go with everything here, and if they have more with these guys down the line and everything. So up next though, you had Moose going up against I'm gonna butcher this name. It's Namuchi Fuji. I butcher that. It was for the Impact Grand Championship. Again, this was a good match. Both of them were performing a good match inside the ring. They're going off the 3 rounds, 3 minutes, everything in that sense. Again, the only matches you have in that division are still for the title, and that's it. Okay. Like I said, I kind of want to see them do more of the division, but they obviously are not. The feuds basically revolve around Moose in any way, shape, or form. And what they had for this, this was not necessarily the feud. The feud was with EC3. He came out and basically got on commentary and just sat there, didn't talk. Wait till about midway through the third round, gets in the ring with a ring bell, and then hits more Fuji with the ring bell itself, and then kind of goes after Moose, but Moose chases him off in the end. Like I said, the match itself was actually fairly entertaining, and it looks like they're starting up with something with EC3 and Moose. So when they kind of started that last week, but they continued on with it this week, and it should be I'll be interested to see where they go with everything. So it seems like everything's leading towards Moose and EC3 at this point in time. So let's see here. We have a couple more things right before the main event. First of all, they had a segment in the LAX clubhouse, and they were basically talking about the match, like how dangerous they're going to be, we got to show them how much more dangerous we are and everything in that sense. And they said, Conan says, like, we need to take out Alberto El Patron tonight to send a statement, everything in that sense. Good segment, good clubhouse segment from LAX to kind of garner their attention or their intention of what they want to do. So this leads to Trevor Lee coming out, and he was going to have a match. Basically, he had the X Division title, and he's calling himself the X Division champion as well. Even though it's not his, like he had stolen it the week before from Sanjay Dutt, everything in that sense. And he said he had picked this, he had gotten this opponent, he had wrestled all over the world, everything, and that kind of playing off the aspect of build this guy up, but he's actually a chump type thing. And even to the point that is like when Trevor Lee says he's going to have the match, he wasn't going to take off the X Division title because he was afraid someone would come out and try to steal it, aka the person who's actually supposed to be holding the title right now, to go along with it. In the terms of the kayfabe thing, this is some good stuff. I like the aspect of him wearing the title while he's actually wrestling the match. Trevor Lee goes over easily in the match, but you also see during the match that that Sanjay Dutt is backstage trying to get out there to get at Trevor Lee, but he's getting taken out of the arena. Then Trevor Lee wins the match, and then Sanjay Dutt had found his way back into the arena through the crowd and gotten and goes after Trevor Lee, and then Trevor Lee eventually gets away, and he still has the X Division title with him, so he did not necessarily get it out. I'm kind of liking where they're going with this. It's one of these things that Sanjay Dutt's like, I'm the X Division champion, but I don't have my title, and he's going to continue to try getting him back. So that's his. So it's obviously where they're going is going to be Trevor Lee, Sanjay Dutt for the X Division title. Hopefully it ends out just being where Sanjay Dutt ends out getting the title back after beating him in a match or something to go along with it, and it doesn't go too terribly far with how they do it, but we'll see where they go with everything here and how often, or not how often, but like how much time will pass before Sanjay Dutt gets to Trevor Lee enough to where he can actually just take his title back to go along with it. So this leads us to the main event. LAX, Santana and Ortiz going up against Lashley and Alberto El Patron. And this was a good match, but I've got to beg this question now. Since LAX has come back, you have Conan, you have Diamante, you have Santana and Ortiz, and you have Homicide. Diamante does stuff every now and again. I think she's had a few matches as well. Homicide, outside of being ringside, has done nothing. What's the point of Homicide at this point? Is he out with the injury so he's just kind of there? Or is he just like that guy that's there and he runs interference to go along with it? And at that point, it's like technically you have Conan for that. So what's the point of Homicide at this point in time? I'm not sure what it is. I like I said, I haven't really read up on everything and see whether or not he's been out with injury and he can do certain things, but he can't do an actual match or anything in that sense, or just to go along with it. That's the only thing that I start really questioning right now, is because Homicide really hasn't done anything since coming back. Santana and Ortiz are the main guys with the tag team titles, while he's kind of just in the background in that sense. Now, for the match itself, I thought it was pretty decent. I thought this was a pretty decent match. I thought it was really good. They played it off as like Lashley and Alberto El Patron kind of, they had this common enemy with LAX because of what LAX had done to Lashley the week before, costing him the title match, everything in that sense. But, what they had done with Alberto El Patron as well. And they show them, like, working together as a team, everything in that sense throughout the entire match. Like, both of them kind of setting up each other's moves to go along with it. And they actually end up picking out the victory. So they make them look like they're a good tag team in some way, shape, or form. Matter of fact, they even have Alberto El Patron as like, hey, we actually make a good team over the microphone. And then LAX attacks Lashley's on the ramp. Alberto El Patron's in the ring. LAX attacks Alberto El Patron, starts beating him down. And it looks like Lashley's like, no, I'm good. I've done what I needed to do. And he's out. He leaves Alberto El Patron to get beaten down. So it's like you're thinking Lashley's going for a face turn, and then lo and behold, no, still heel, still got you on that side of everything. So all in all, I thought it was pretty good. Not gonna lie, I thought this week's episode of Impact Wrestling was pretty good. We only had the one real, like, what are they doing thing with the Swolmate guys in there, but all in all, I thought it was pretty decent. Obviously, they're continuing on this whole thing with Grado. I'm not a big fan of Grado in any way, but some of the comedy stuff that they're doing here is pretty decent with it as well. I'm not gonna just rag on it because I don't like a particular person in the actual program, or I'm not gonna rag on it too much. In that sense, because if I see something good or decent or anything in that sense, you might as well just say it's good or decent. And the main event was also pretty good. The Super X Cup, I'm enjoying it at this point in time. We'll see if they build up any more stories. Like, I like how they have, and they did this with the Cruiserweight Classic, and I think they're gonna do it with. They did it with the United Kingdom tournament as well for WWE, and I think they'll probably do it for the Mae Young Classic as well, where they have these vignettes about each guy, and they kind of talk about themselves a little bit, and it kind of gets you a little bit more behind them as they're about to go out there. So, because for some of these guys, you may never have seen them before. Matter of fact, out of the people that they brought in, the only one I really know of is Drago, and that's because I've watched Lucha Underground for at least 2 seasons at this point in time. So I know Drago to go along with it. But that makes, like, I think 5 guys I know, like the Impact Wrestling guys that they have in there, and then Drago. I don't really know the other guys all that much. So I like the aspect that they're giving these vignette times to these guys beforehand to try to get you behind them a little bit more. And it's a good way of going. So, yeah, with that being said, that's pretty much everything for GFW's Impact Wrestling this week. So I thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a great day. And next review, no pay-per-view this weekend. So there's something different. There's no pay-per-view this weekend. I think that's next weekend. So we won't have any kind of pay-per-view stuff this week. So I believe it will be Monday Night Raw is the next one that's going to be coming up. Probably sometime next week. Hopefully, I'll get to do it like Tuesday or something like that instead of on like a Wednesday or a Thursday like I've been doing recently. So I'm going to try to get that done a little bit sooner if I can. So with that being said, everyone, I thank you guys for watching and have a great day.